The 10th house is the most exposed house in the zodiac. It puts you in the spotlight out in the open where everyone sees you. This is the house of karma. What is the 10th house in astrology? What does it represent? In this video, let's go over exactly what the 10th house represents and means in your horoscope. We'll also go over something controversial. The first thing people want to know about is their career. After all, we spend so much time doing it. So if you want to know more about 10th house career energy, I did some hardcore research for you, and 12 astrology scriptures say this house rules over your profession, livelihood, occupation, employment, career, and your business or trade. So pretty much it's your job, where you could fill out an application to get work, for example. That's the 10th house. It's where you put out some kind of effort to do something and you're in motion. The 10th house is moving energy. It's not fixed. And that makes sense because people who do nothing at work get fired. Work and activity go hand in hand. When we get lazy on the job, we fall out of balance with this house's energy. What's interesting is the 10th house also represents karma, which is a Sanskrit word that means work or action. It's our day-to-day activities in the world where we labor and try to be productive. How this ties into karma as we know it today is that the actions we do now have an effect on our future lives. So if we work to help others, others may help us in the next life. Karma is a direct result of our actions. That's why it's so important to be aware of what we do so we don't hurt anyone. Unless we want to be hurt in the future, we can't get away from universal law. It's like gravity. If we throw something up, it's gonna come down. Simply put, if we treat others the way we want to be treated, we create good karma for our future. It seems like common sense, but it's amazing how many people don't think about that before they speak or act. It actually isn't obvious. Social media would be a completely different world if people did a mental check once in a while before they hit the keys. Welcome to Astrology by 33, where ancient teachings are finally restored. It's an honor to have you here today. The 10th house also represents your rank or position. For example, a company job could go from janitor to secretary to vice president and CEO. It's your status or place on the podium, who's above you and who's below you. That's 10th house energy. Getting a promotion at work is seen from this house because it's climbing the company ladder. Now this part is kind of cool if you want to know what kind of behavior a person generally has. The famous astrologer Parashara says if the planet that rules your 10th house is exalted in its own sign or strong, the person will perform good actions. The 10th house rules over how good your actions are or aren't. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do. Do you walk the talk? A lot of people don't. This house shows that. You can see a good or bad employee from this house and the degree of their moral standards. Even a strong Saturn or Mars can make an extremely honest and hardworking person. The 10th house meaning is also about honor. This is a repeated theme in 12 of the most respected astrology books out there. They all say it represents honor, which doesn't get talked about a lot. Because Capricorn is the ruling sign behind the 10th house, a lot of people link it to Saturn energy, which it is. But we have to remember the highest righteousness of Saturn in its perfect state is honor and dignity. It's being worthy of respect. A person's reputation is seen from this house. How honorable are you? Do people respect you? How do you work when no one's looking? These are things we have control over. But it's not about climbing the ranks to be the best. A great king once said, "The greatest among you shall be your servant, and whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." Most people don't want a boss with an ego. They appreciate someone that's down to earth, that truly cares about their well-being. As we transition into the new earth, this kind of thing will be more common, but it starts with us. Now this one's even bigger. The 10th house of astrology represents sovereignty according to 13 different ancient texts. So what is that exactly? It's supreme power or authority. These are the people with ruling power who give orders and commands. It's a high position like a king, president, or prime minister. Government is one of the main 10th house themes in astrology. Government workers often have planets in this house, and that's why royalty is part of the 10th house meaning. Not only does it represent authority, it represents the highest authority. This is a very powerful house. The planets in your birth chart get the most strength in your first house, but in your 10th house, they get second to most strength out of all the houses in your chart, according to Tajik Nilkanti. So if you have planets in this house, you're going to notice it, and it helps to understand what each planet represents. Now let's dive into some amazing 10th house characteristics next. And if you'd like to show your support for the many hours of love I put into this video, make sure to press the thumbs up button below. And thank you so much. The 10th house in your horoscope rules over name and fame. So if you want to know how famous you'll be, this is one of the houses to look at. Parashara says you'll enjoy fame if the planet that rules your 10th house is exalted in its own sign or strong. The 10th house in your birth chart also represents the sky and all things related to it. That includes the atmosphere, space, the air, clouds, asteroids, comets, black holes, and galaxies, for example. It's everything you see when you look up outside. And since we're talking about the sky, these 5 classic astrology books all say the 10th house rules over rain. It also represents the highest form of knowledge. This kind of knowledge gives us understanding. A lot of people memorize facts, but they don't always understand how they work together or apply to the bigger picture. This is the knowledge we draw upon to form an opinion or a belief system, which is a huge deal for a lot of people in religion or politics, for example. Each one of the 12 houses in your natal chart represents a part of your body. The 10th house represents your knees. Now, here's the controversial part. Many astrologers don't agree on which house represents your father. The scriptures say you can see it from the 5th house and the 9th house, but 7 highly respected astrology scriptures say you can see it from the 10th house as well. Tajik Nilkanti says it's about your father's property. Parashara says it's about paternal happiness. Prituyasha says it shows your devotion to your dad and what's good and bad about him. I recommend doing your own research and applying it to what you feel is true about your chart. It's better to rely on your own truth instead of believing all the books. Astrology school is just a guideline to get you started. The best thing is to watch the stars for yourself and match them to the events in your life. This is how you know it's real or not. You can prove and disprove the books this way. My personal opinion and experience is that the sidereal zodiac shows true and measurable events on Earth. If you'd like to learn more about the driving energy of Capricorn behind the 10th house, check out the link here. This video goes much deeper into the stellar force behind the 10th house and what it really means. It's worth a watch if you want to know more. Make sure to subscribe below if there's more you'd like to know, and thanks for pressing the like button to help support my show.